So about us, if you're not familiar with us, we are Chris Services Group, your trusted digital transformation partner. We are a Microsoft Gold or Silver partner in several areas, including application development, integration, collaboration, and content data analytics, as you can see on your screen. We pride ourselves on partnering with our customers in their modern workplace and application modernization journeys. Next. So, quick agenda.
Case for our purposes, for our purpose. So let's go through that. So let's briefly see what are the features of ChatGPT. So as we all know, ChatGPT is a language model developed by OpenAI based on GPT-3.5 architecture. So we'll see the architectures in the next slide. So it belongs to a family of models known as the generative pre-trained transformer, or in the short form known as GPT. So these models are built using neural networks and are designed to generate human-like text actually. So let us see some of the key features of ChatGPT. So the first one is natural language processing. So ChatGPT is capable of understanding and processing natural language. It can also comprehend input text, generate responses, and perform various language-related tasks. Then the second one is large-scale pre-training, right? So this is the main feature of ChatGPT, striking feature, I would say. So this pre-training enables the model to learn grammar, context, and various language patterns, making it adaptable to a wide range of tasks. And then the next one is contextual understanding. So that is what it gives it the power of, it resembles human-like response. So the ChatGPT has a very contextual understanding, so which means it can consider the entire conversation history when generating a response. So that's what it means by contextual understanding. So this enables ChatGPT to provide more relevant and coherent answers. Then we have conversational AI. One of the primary applications of ChatGPT is its conversational AI. So people get engaged on ChatGPT and to perform conversations like how they do with other humans. So they get interactive dialogues with dialogues with ChatGPT. It answers your questions and it provides a lot of information based on the context. And then another main feature is the multilingual support. So it supports ChatGPT's proficiency in multiple languages, so which allows it to communicate with users from various linguistic backgrounds. So let's briefly look at the evolution of ChatGPT. So it was released in 2018 by OpenAI. GPT-1 was the first model in the series. So the GPT-1 had around 117 million parameters. which was considered quite large at that time. Then GPT-1 showcased the power of transformer-based language models for various NLP tasks. So GPT-2 was unveiled in 2019, which was a major breakthrough in language modeling at the time. So it consisted of 1.5 billion parameters. So we can see the jump actually in the number of parameters. Then GPT-3 is introduced around June 2020. GPT-3 was a very significant leap forward in terms of size and performance. So it had a staggering 175 billion parameters actually. So you can see the jump from 1.5 to 175 billion. Then GPT-3 also demonstrated exceptional language understanding and the generation capabilities. So that's why ChatGPT, when we say ChatGPT, it means by default ChatGPT-3. So its ability to engage in natural sounding conversations with users made it very popular as a conversational AI. And then we have ChatGPT 3.5, which is released in September 2021. It is not a very distinctive model released by OpenAI, but that was the basis for the ChatGPT online interface, which we all use actually. And ChatGPT 4 released in 2023 March. It is made publicly available in a limited form via ChatGPT Product Plus product line from OpenAI. And it is still not that much widely accepted yet. So now let us see some of the main use cases of ChatGPT that ChatGPT can solve. So ChatGPT can be utilized in various use cases across different industries because of its the capabilities that it brings on the table. So its natural language processing capabilities and conversational abilities make it valuable for a wide range of applications. So as you can see, customer support is top one use case for ChatGPT. So ChatGPT can be employed as a virtual customer support agent, addressing customer inquiries, providing product information, troubleshooting issues, and offering personalized assistance. Then the next use case is about personal assistance. So ChatGPT can serve as a digital personal assistant, managing schedules, setting reminders, sending emails, and answering questions on various topics. And then we have language translation as the third main use case. It can help in real-time language translation, making communication between individuals who speak different languages more accessible. And then we have content creation. Actually, that's my favorite. So ChatGPT can help you create a lot of content by generating ideas, proofreading content, and suggesting improvements on the content you create. And then final one is knowledge base. It can be integrated into a knowledge base to help users find relevant information and answer frequently asked questions. So FAQs can be implemented very easily using ChatGPT. So we have now seen some of the most generic use cases for ChatGPT. So let us now get into specifics of healthcare industry, because that is the use case that we have worked upon actually, and the demo that we will be showing is based on that. So I would like to just take you through some of the top 8 use cases of ChatGPT. So first one in healthcare industry is about virtual assistants for patients. So patients can use ChatGPT as a virtual assistant to get immediate access to information about their health and conditions. Patients can also use ChatGPT to ask questions about the symptoms, medical procedures, and prescription drugs. And the ChatGPT will respond with accurate and recent answers. The next one is symptom checker. So patients can be questioned by the ChatGPT about the symptoms and given a list of potential diagnoses, as well as guidance on what to do next. And then moving on to the next one, which is patient education. Patients can also use ChatGPT to educate them about their health and conditions, empowering them to choose their own care in an informed manner. ChatGPT can also answer any questions patients may have and give them information about treatments, medications, and lifestyle changes. And then we have clinical trials, where chatbot can inform patients about clinical trials and assist them in determining their eligibility. Right, so we just move on. Then we have clinical decision support. So healthcare professionals can use ChatGPT as a clinical decision support tool to assist them in making educated decisions regarding patient care. It can also inform healthcare professionals about treatments, medications, and diagnostic procedures. Then remote monitoring. ChatGPT can be used to remotely monitor patients, which is, getting very popular, enabling medical professionals to keep an eye on their health, right? And ChatGPT can also remind patients to check their vital signs and notify medical staff. So the next use case is what we have built actually medical advice in our demo. Based on their symptoms, and medical history, ChatGPT can offer patients medical recommendations and advice. So this is the use case we have taken up for today's demo, and my colleague Girish will be demoing that at the end of this webinar. ChatGPT can give patients peace of mind and assist them in making well-informed decisions about their health. And finally, we can also use ChatGPT for appointment scheduling. Patients can make appointments with medical professionals using ChatGPT, making it simpler for them to receive the care they require. So I think, I just picked up a few of the use cases in healthcare industry, but there are many more to add. But we can see how ChatGPT is revolutionizing the healthcare industry. Now, actually, I would like to jump on to specifics of Azure. How we have actually deployed and trained our models in Azure to realize the use case or the demo that we have built. So we have seen so far that ChatGPT was introduced by OpenAI, which is a different company, but Azure had built OpenAI models. Azure provides OpenAI based models on Azure subscriptions. So it gives customers, the benefits that we get as Azure subscription users is basically additional security and ensuring compatibility with other services. So customers can get the security capabilities of Microsoft Azure while also running the same models as OpenAI. So we get the benefits of the models of OpenAI as well as the capabilities offered by Azure, other capabilities offered by Azure. So Azure OpenAI offers private networking and regional availability and responsible AI content filtering. So these are the additional services that are built by Azure as part of their OpenAI model offerings. So as we can see, there are four different models, OpenAI models that can be provisioned in Azure as of today. So we have this ChatGPT 4 and GPT 3.5 models which are prompt based. So basically they will help your applications to build conversational AI capabilities, where the user will be prompted to enter some text and then they'll get the response, the text completion. So another type of model is called DALI. So currently this is in preview. The purpose of this model is to generate images from text prompts that user provides. So basically, if you want to generate some content and you have some ideas, you can generate an image for that and then enrich your content. So that's the purpose of DALI. So I will now hand it over to Girish to take it further on how he had provisioned the models on Azure and trained them and then realize the use case. Over to you, Girish.
Yeah, thanks, Sai. Hi, myself Girish. I handle mobility in Krish, and in these upcoming slides, I'll guide you how to use the Azure OpenAI to your practical purposes. This is a rough overview or sketch that you can go through that will be going, and I'll just go through one by one. I'll walk you through how we can use the Azure OpenAI to train our custom models. Now, we'll start by creating a custom JSON prompt. Now, when you say a JSON prompt, it's the set of questions and answers you can say that you'll be using to train the data model. And then we retrain the custom model based on these data. And once you are done with the training, then your model is a little more customized to your needs. And once you're done with it, you'll set up a context for the OpenAI or what it has to be done. Now, this is more relevant if you don't have access to these custom models. If you have access to these, then this will not make much of a difference, but definitely it adds on to people who don't have access to it. Now, once you're done with it, then you'll pass in a handful of conversations to it, which can be used to kind of semi-train the data. Now, this is again, if you don't have access to the custom models, which most people don't have, then this setting up the conversation part will help you. And once you're done with it, then you're good to go, and we can just go ahead with it and start the training. Next slide, Sai. So this is the first step that we'll go. This is a sample JSON model that you'll have to create. Now, the prompts specify what the user will enter, and what it is expected from. So let's go through an example over here. Now, if the prompt is like how vast is our galaxy, the answer would be the most commonly known cited estimate is around 100 billion light years. Oh, sorry, 100,000 light years. And then the user might ask, okay, what is a light year? Then you would define that a light year is a distance that the light would travel in a year. So these are the set of questions that you will put as to train these models. Now, this is important because your business logic, your idea, and everything comes over here. So it is important to create these files, training files and validation files that can be used to train the data. Now, once you have created a JSON file, it has to be converted into a format that the data model can understand. It is called a JSON-L format. There are OpenAI tools available directly. Yeah, I've given a link. You can go through them. And once you have converted your JSON data and validation data and training data, both of them, you just upload them and use it to train your models. Next slide, Sai. Yeah. So once you're done with your data, now let's start training it. You just select a base model. Now there are different base models that are available. It again depends upon your subscription and the pricing model that you are choosing to avail. So DaVinci and GPT 35 Turbo is the best one that you can go for. DaVinci being best one used for mail conversations or chatbot conversations. So anything after DaVinci is good to go. Now, once you have selected the base model. Now remember, this base model is already trained on a lot of data set. Now you're going to train your model, your data on top of this data set. Now you'll just select the data set that I mentioned before and validation data, and you start training the custom model. And you can add some customizations, but it's mostly not needed. But again, it's your call on that. Once the training is done, it's a time-consuming process and it's a bit costly process. The pricing is mentioned in the link again. It's based on the number of tokens. So the more the data, the more it takes time, then it's a little more costlier. And once you're done with the data, your base model is ready, and now you can go ahead and deploy it. Next slide, Sai. So now, since your base model is done, all you need to do is create a new deployment, select your base model, and add some configurations. And now this base model will be used by your clients or services, whatever that you're using, since it's deployed as a service. This will be the base thing in which all of them would be interacting and getting their answers from. So you're almost done to go over here. Now let's understand. Next slide. Now let's understand a bit of pros and cons for these kind of pre-trained models. One is it's a time-consuming process, so you'll have to train your model and you're good to go on that. The response that you receive is a quality one. This is since you're training based on a lot of data that you already have, the response is quite having a good quality. Now the cons are it is costly to train. Again, it's based on a number of tokens that you use, a number of data that you use. But once you train your model, and then you're good to go with it. And it is only limited access. So not all users currently have access to this. So this is one of the limitations that you have. And one more drawback is that once you train your data, then if you have a new set of data or additional data that is coming, then you'll have to retrain the entire thing again. Probably it's something that Microsoft will improve in future, but currently they don't have it. So you'll have to retrain the entire data again and create a new base model and deploy it again. Next slide, Sai. Now, since all of us don't have access to these trained models, I'll tell you one more approach in which you can do similar kind of a thing. It will not be as good as a pre-trained model, but at least it'll be better than what we have. Now, the pros are like there is no absolutely no training cost. It's accessible to everyone and everyone can use it. However, the quality or the accuracy to remain with respect to the business context is a bit low. So that is something that we'll have to live with it if you don't have access to these things. Next slide, Sai. So what you do is you just set up a deployment. Mostly it's GPT 35 Turbo and anything that you prefer, but I prefer to use a GPT 35 Turbo. And once you have the deployment, set up a context so that the AI will understand what it has to do. And I'll go in detail in the demo when I show the Python code for it. And then give us few sample prompts. The prompts will be similar to what we use to train the data. So it will be quite similar to that. Set up any configurations that you want, and then you're good to go with it. Next slide, Sai. Okay, what we have done is we have built up an AI health coach. What it does, it receives real-time personalized health advice from the concerned patients. Once it gets a query or a specific set of questions, then it reads based on what we have already told them and answers it. Now, assistance is customized based on their health plans. Now, it depends upon which plan you take, and there is you receive a medical reminder for this, and the information is reliable based on whatever data that we train. Next slide, Sai. So this is the demo. I'll just show you. I'll share my screen. Tell me if the screen is visible.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay. So this is the basic code that you can use to interact with your model. So you're just setting up the server, the configurations and everything, like the API type and everything. You'll get these informations once you create the models in OpenAI. After that, all you need to do is use the API to get the response, and based on the response, you'll have your chatbot ready. Now, this is the main part. This is the core part where everything pitches in. So remember, I had mentioned before that we have to set up a context. So this part you see over here is it's what the context is. You're defining the model, what it has to do. Now, this is helpful again for those people who don't have access to these base models. So it will define the context, what it has to do. It will help out with things that you might need to say, or a specific set of instructions or procedures or these kind of things. Now, the role that you provide is a system. That is where you define the context. This is important because if you don't provide it a system, it will not understand the context. And that is where the gist of the entire chatbot comes in. Now, as before, we had mentioned some few prompts and answers that the user might say. So let's say the user say hi, the role being user says hi, and the assistant would reply in a way that you want it to reply. Now, this is the training data set. Unfortunately, the way we train data sets with multiple set of huge set of data, we can't do it over here because ChatGPT does not remember more than context of more than 20. So, and has a limitation of tokens of around 4,000 tokens, as in the words that you use over here. So you can set up a few conversations over here. 20 would be the ideal number because beyond 20, it will not remember the context. Once you're done with it, and this is kind of a pre-training, you can say. And once you're done with it, you're ready and you're good to go. So here is a sample prompt. I'll just get a prompt 1 second. Now I've sent a prompt that, hey, I hope you're doing good. I'm going through a rough patch. I'm just recovering from a bad accident and I'm feeling a bit of depressed. So this is a response from one of the patients that we get. And this is what the coach would respond back. I've attached the screenshot of these conversations. The conversation would slightly be different because ChatGPT always has this tendency of not being the response is not always same, but roughly it will be same. Once you receive a response, let's say the user is sending one more reply. Hey, thanks for the advice. I also have some sleeping problems. Can you suggest something? Lately, I'm having some bad dreams about the accident. So now the coach will try to help out the particular patient. Will tell what it has to do, a set of routines or tasks that you should do, and kind of suggestions what you might do to help your health. Now I'll just throw it off context by giving something else. Now that I have went to my mom's place. Okay. Last week I went to my mom's place. I haven't been in touch with her for a long time. Felt good to reconnect with her. Now this also helps us to understand. Now it remembers the context. Before we mentioned that okay, I have went through an accident. Now you can see it remembers the context and it tells that coming back to the older connecting with your family members helps to recover from such kind of accidents and well-beings. So this helps us to overcome the this helps us to understand that ChatGPT does remember a context. It does provide an idea on what the patient would expect or ideally would say, and it tries to give a customized answer the way a health coach would do. And now I'm going to ask him the final question. that do you recommend any books for me to read in my free time so that it can help me heal. It will give you some of the books or some kind of suggestions that you can use that can help you to increase your mental well-being. Again, these slides are everything present in the PPT itself, and this is how we are using chatbot to create our own AI assistant coach. Sai, can you resume the presentation?
Yeah.
It's not visible, I guess.
Yeah. So I think we have given the same slides here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same slides that we are given here. Now it's based on simplifying the user's experience, and these are the questions that we went through. These are some of the answers that the coach would give us, and this is an ideal response that our health AI assistant coach would do. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, Sai? So remember this, these were the contexts that we had mentioned and how it remembers those contexts and provides us with the proper answer. And if you see, some of the books are different from what it had mentioned before, because it does not always repeat the same answer. So each time you get an answer, you feel that it is customized. It is not the same way that the earlier chatbots used to be do. So this is way better in responding to your answers. Your question, sorry. Yep. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to take a quick minute to thank you all for joining. After the meeting, we will be sending out a recording of the webinar as well as a copy of the slide deck. While I unmute everyone so they can ask questions out loud, we did get a couple come in from the other places we are, we're streaming to. The first one being from Eva Coppola. I apologize if I butchered that pronunciation. Your logo is great. I would love to know how you were able to get ChatGPT to do those tasks. Can't see the rest of that question. And then the second is, how does DALL-E content generation differ from ChatGPT content generation?
Girish, you're on mute, yeah.
Oh, my bad. So there are two ways that we can do this. One is using the trained models, and the other one is using setting up the context and providing the prompts and answers. Both are mentioned in the slides. You can go through them. And the way it's different with DALL-E is like it's an image generation tool. It's different from chat. So it's like more of an DALL-E would be more of an artistic answer, and it only generates images and those kind of things based on the text that you give. But here, what we are doing is we are creating using the chatbot, ChatGPT experience from OpenAI to create a custom bot or agent, someone whom you can talk to, who has a business context, who will help you resolve your queries based on whatever that you train it on.
All right. I just dropped in the chat. Mics are now live. If you have any questions you wish to discuss, please unmute and ask away. One just popped up in the chat from Dan Klinger. Were books part of the training, or is that from the base model?
Books was part of the base model.
Any more questions? Doesn't look like it. So, okay, just like to take a moment to thank you all again for joining. As promised, a recording of this as well as a copy of the slide deck will be sent out, so please keep an eye on your emails. If you have any further questions in regard to this, something pops up later and you want to discuss it,
please don't hesitate to respond. We can set up some time to discuss. And then, yeah, just thank you again. Oh, looks like. Okay, so we have one more question. So image generation with DALL-E. I have worked with it a little bit. You're using DALL-E for images for what purpose?
Right now, we are not using DALL-E for anything
Yeah.
because our models or our business perspectives are more with respect to using the generative processing language rather than for images. So it's mostly chatbot or assistant coach, those kind of things that we are looking at. We are not currently working anything related to DALL-E.
Yeah, like I was saying, so just keep an eye on your emails. We'll be sending out a copy of this. If you have any additional questions or want to discuss this further, please don't hesitate to respond. We'll get a time on the calendar to discuss, and we can, talk through how these concepts might apply to your particular organization and how we could, potentially work together in making them succeed for you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.